First and foremost, I want to know, have you ever been a victim of racism? Let me know in the comments below right now. Pause the video and let me know your story right now. Roll with me. Yo, what up? It's that guy doing another little update video. Just really talking to you guys about what's on my mind today. I'll be honest with you, I've grown up facing it subtly my whole life. And historically speaking, what I've been through has probably been just like this much compared to what I've read about and learned about happening to people. But I still feel like, you know, racism definitely exists in this society. And, you know, being a light-skinned or a mixed breed, you know, it doesn't make things any easier. You know, but what really gets me about it is how blatantly they put racism in Hollywood and in Netflix and, you know, all over different mediums that we watch and consume every single day. Even in the workplace, you can see discrimination all over the world. And as being a mixed individual myself, it's hard for me not to notice that kind of stuff, and really it's always been there. And what's crazy is that even though I have the ability to focus and to call out in my mind what's a racist remark or a derogatory statement, amongst family I might hear it, amongst friends I might hear it, but not every time I can always politely correct the term or the situation. And that's something I need to work on, especially now with everything that's going on in this whole George Floyd. And you know what, it comes down to me admitting that, like, you know, I'm not perfect either, because even I, as much as I'm aware of using racial slurs, I'm not totally acquitted from that, because up to this point I would say stuff like, you know, Americans are generally obese and overweight and fat, and that in itself is a derogatory statement which I shouldn't use against a generalized group of people. And seriously though, it's like I've grown up feeling awkward around situations when people are using these terms to me, whether they're talking about, you know, if I'm amongst a group of whoever, and they say, you know, oh, what's it like being black? Or, you know, they'll ask me questions like, oh, are you a basketball player? You know, you should play basketball. Or, you know, I must have a big schlong, like that kind of stuff. It's always been kind of awkward for me. Because these are the stereotypes that people assume. You know, it's just like having dreadlocks and people walk up to me and ask me if I have weed for sale. They think I automatically smoke weed just because I have locks, right? As awkward as I might feel hearing these stigmas around me sometimes, and as little as I have never spoken up against them, which might I add I will now in the future, it's very weird how now I'm okay with hearing the N-word in music, even using it in my own music back in the day. Never with the ER, always with an A. For some reason, hearing the N-word pronounced with the ER really bothers me. Even watching Django really bothered me. But hearing it with a GA doesn't bother me. But even though it's the same word, and I really feel like we shouldn't be using it in either way. And the strangest part about that is that I don't even use the word nigga in everyday language with my friends, with my family, with people online. I never use it. So why do I feel like rapping and using it, only because I've been brainwashed to use it that way from hearing all this music over the years. So actually, I feel like that word in general just shouldn't be used amongst people anymore at all. It's not like I'm blind to anything. I understand systematic racism. I understand how the governments have put things in place that discriminate against colored people and colored communities. Not even just black communities, but I mean all the colored communities. You've got the indigenous people that were first hit by all this. Like, you know, a lot of people are discriminated against of color. And the thing is, it sucks that the system, as Peter Tosh would call it, the shit stem, has been set up like this. This is Babylon's work at its greatest. This is what we've been taught by Mr. Marley and Peter Tosh himself over all the years, is that things are set up for us to fail. Tupac has been mentioning this as well. You know, it's a white man's world, essentially. And black people aren't the ones benefiting from the way the system is set up. You know, specifically because we see now that, you know, when you come up in a low-income area, these areas have been redlined for people to be put there. There's no investment money going into these areas, which means, you know, worse teachers get put in these areas, more kids are crammed in the classrooms, people coming out with less of an education, getting lesser of jobs when they graduate. And on top of that, like the government being in on these conspiracies about, you know, putting crack in black neighborhoods to destroy the community, getting colored people addicted to drugs and enslaved to poverty so that we can't escape that shitstorm. And you know, these are the type of things that are real. These are the type of things that have been conspiracy theories for all these years, but essentially it's like, these are facts. This is what is actually happening around here, is that, you know, we're actually set up. We've been set up to fail. So it's a lot harder for colored people to come up in today's society, 100%. And this is where this big uproar now is coming out, because, you know, it's not just the police brutality. Yes, police do kill more colored people than any other sort, but in the end of it all, black people are killing more of ourselves than anybody else. We're killing each other, and that's the part where the government is still at play because of all the brainwashing and manipulation that we've been accustomed to in the system. It creates that sort of environment for us to be shooting each other over things like poverty and drugs and crime. So, I mean, that's what we really got to figure out, is how to get out of this system. And this is why I encourage people to start their own business, start their own art, promote your passions. Stuff like this will help you able to leave shitstorms that exist. My background, my parents, my mom is from England. She's a white woman. My dad is from Jamaica. He's a black man. Creates me, a mixed child. But the type of shit that I heard growing up was like, oh, this mulatto kid. I never knew the word mulatto was derogatory until recently. All the time I heard the word mulatto thrown at me. You know, I mean, it's nothing crazy, but here's the part that fucks with me the most, is that, you know, I've had people literally call me the N-word, or derogatory things like a coon, or a gorilla, or an ape, stuff like that. But at the same time, I've been called by black people that I'm white. I'm whitewashed. I'm a fake Rasta. You know, like, literally, I've been discriminated against both races. And that's the part that messes with my mind the most, because it feels like that neither of the societies really want to accept me. So it's hard growing up as a kid, feeling these push and pull emotions, being torn between two cultures. It makes you not really know where to lay yourself, or who to identify yourself as. Am I the only one who's ever experienced this? I've done my research. I've learned about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Mahatma Gandhi, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh. I've read a lot about human rights. So it's not like I'm not aware of the shit going on, but a lot of people apparently are. They're ignorant to the fact of what is really happening out there in the world, and it comes down to us now just educating ourselves and helping each other's perspectives grow from this. The craziest thing is, like, you know, the people that we celebrate in America, in Canada, for such as Christopher Columbus Day. Why does this man have a holiday when he's one that caused a lot of the indigenous relocation and a lot of the discrimination that still exists today came from him discovering this land and taking over from the people that were already here? So just like America, Canada has founded itself off the same exact racism that came here from, you know, 400 years ago. You know, and really, you know, since slavery has been abolished, thank goodness for some good men out there like Abe Lincoln, you know, like JFK. They're the ones that always get assassinated. Martin Luther King, the ones trying to make a difference, they're the ones always silenced. And being from Canada, our past has been founded on the same sort of thing with a man named Sir John A. Macdonald, who came in and took over the indigenous that were here already and replaced them and forced them to learn new religions and killed off a whole bunch of them that didn't comply. It's just like, it's madness. So as much as I'm for the protesting and standing up for our human rights, there's just something fishy going on about all these protests right now. Especially because it's right now during this whole pandemic of COVID-19. You know, honestly, you won't catch me out at a protest because I'm not trying to fall for their trap. You will catch me protesting in solidarity online with videos like this, through discussions that people that I know. But to go out to these protests, I feel like it's just a big entrapment. You know, same with this whole COVID-19 bullcrap. A lot of it is just an agenda. This has all been written out, planned out for total control of the global society, you know. And personally, I feel like these protests couldn't have come at a worse time. Obviously, because people are supposed to be self-isolating right now, but everybody out in the streets right now is just going to create two things: more spread of this virus that has been released upon us, and more control of our rights, meaning martial law to come, forced vaccinations, you know, total control of our lives, having us use a cashless society, and New World Order agenda. I mean, these are things that I've always known about since 10 plus years ago, and it's crazy to see that all come into play now, which to me is no surprise. I've expected this to kind of happen, so that's why I'm not really in fear of it or anything, but I just need to talk to you guys about that. So I'm really feeling like, you know, this whole COVID thing has been planned. All these protests going on now are for the right message, but the rioting and the looting that's happening, this has all been planned. This has all been funded by, you know, other people such as George Soros, other elites in the government, to just break down the society, to turn people against us. So don't trust when you see a pile of bricks out in the street where your protest is happening. Those have been planted there. People have been paid now to protest with you guys and start the rioting and looting. There's videos of cops in undercover outfits smashing and looting stores, inciting riots. There's videos of police officers parking their vehicles in the middle of the protests and breaking their own vehicles to incite riots and looting. Like, it's just madness to see. There's also been videos of cops telling protesters to deface public property with spray paint and graffiti. You know, all this is being planned. It's all a big agenda for a bigger thing to happen, which is, of course, sooner than later, our martial law first, where everybody's got to stay inside, nobody's allowed out, curfew, and military presence in the streets of America where the military are going to be fighting off their own kind. And that's messed up to me, because I'm seeing shit now like in Michigan where they're protesting heavily armed. Michigan, it's allowed to have assault rifles in the streets if you have a license for it. And now these dudes are out grouped up and armed, probably ready to take on the military once shots start popping off. So this is the kind of shit that I don't like to see. This is not the way the protest should be going. And honestly, just do your best to stay away from any government situation right now. And if you can, like, just get off grid, get away from the cities, because you know, it's just gonna start going down. There's millions of people unemployed right now, the most since the Great Depression in the 1930s. So to see all these people unemployed, to see all these people in the streets angry, it's just a shit show to happen. And that's just what it is. So take my word for it. The protests, the government being COVID-19 propaganda, it's all a psyop. It's all psychological operations and warfare to enslave our minds. So do your best right now to stay meditating, stay on a positive vibration, so you don't be consumed by this negativity all around us, because there's this negativity that is really going to take us down. And I'm all for people, black people standing up for their rights, white people standing with them. Just be careful for the agents that have been placed amongst you guys, because those are the people really trying to tear down the society. So as one mixed kid, as one mixed man to another mixed man or woman out there, stay strong, stay happy, stay natty, and just do our best to keep on keeping. Let me know down below your thoughts on these issues. I would love to hear what you guys are thinking, and definitely just keep on supporting one another, because here on the Not Nation family, this is what we're here to do, is help each other out through conversation, through communication. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for such the awesome support that you've given over the years and the critical feedback in times of need. I truly love everybody here, and I'll see you guys around. Peace out, one love. It's that guy, I'm gone. Adios.
The Nation.